Money problems can happen to anyone, whether it's divorce, illness, or job loss. Many Canadians are living a financially stressed life. Here to give us a few examples of how to start digging yourself out of debt is Blair Mantin from Sands & Associates. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so there are some options for people. We hear about bankruptcy and consumer proposals. What is the difference between those two?
Well, huge difference. So first off, they're both only available through a licensed trustee such as myself, but a consumer proposal is how you avoid bankruptcy. It's where you say you've got too much debt to pay everything off. What I need is to stop all the interest, and usually you pay back about a third of the debt in full satisfaction. So it's how you get things back on track without having to go bankrupt.
Okay, so we're going to take a look at a few different scenarios of some people of how they got their finances back in order. Starting with someone we're going to call Joe, who is a 44-year-old male. He's employed. He has a monthly take-home pay of about $2,400. He has a mortgage and debt of about $56,000, which does not include mortgage or car loan. So what would be the solution for someone like Joe?
Well, so in Joe's case, he's actually very close to the average Canadian. He's earning about the same take-home pay as the average Canadian, around $2,400. But the big issue is his debts are consuming just about all of his take-home pay, and he's not getting ahead. So what Joe needed to do is he needed to understand here's the options available to him, and his best option was a consumer proposal.
Okay.
So with a consumer proposal, again, he was able to freeze all the interest. We negotiated a proposal that repaid about 30% of the debt. So in his case, he was making monthly payments of $280 per month, and he's got the right to pay that off as soon as he wants, or he can take up to 5 years at $280 per month. Fully protected the whole time, back on track, no bankruptcy.
All right, let's move on to our next person, who is Jane. And Jane is a 36-year-old single parent. She is employed. She has a monthly take-home pay of about $2,200 and has a debt of $48,000. So it seems like a pretty typical scenario of a lot of people out there. What is the solution for her?
Well, so the big issue with Jane is most of her debt was student loans. And as anybody knows, if you're going to owe anybody money, the government's probably last on that list because the government has all sorts of power. So when Jane came to see us, she was getting collection calls from the government, and she was also being threatened to have her wages taken. So at $2,200 a month supporting a child, it's very difficult. So we sat down with Jane, and we did figure out she could make some payments, but not what student loans was asking. So we were actually able to do the same strategy as Joe. We were able to file a consumer proposal where we negotiated a 30% repayment. She makes monthly payments at $240 per month. So again, more geared to her income, a little less than Joe paid because he earned more money. Again, no need for bankruptcy, nothing that she can't recover from very quickly in the future.
All right, and our final profile, we have Grandpa Debtor. This is what we're calling him. Grandpa Debtor, who is a 62-year-old retired male. He has a pension income of $2,100 and a debt of $68,000. Tell us about this one.
Well, so Grandpa Debtor, that's the biggest type of client we're seeing these days. In the last 3 years.
Why is that?
Well, there's a number of reasons. You know, the number one thing is people get into retirement, their incomes don't increase, but the costs go up every single year. So a lot of folks, they continue to accumulate debt into retirement, or they started retirement with some debt and they were just unable to pay it down. So we see more and more people who are over age 60 or 65. It's been up by more than 200% in the last 3 years just for our firm at Sands & Associates. So it's not hopeless. That's the message here, but it's often a consumer proposal is not the right answer. If you're 65 years old and you're struggling to make ends meet, you know, you're barely above the low income guideline, putting you on a payment plan to pay back even a third. Sometimes it works, but more often than not, bankruptcy is the right option. Many senior citizens are very scared of bankruptcy, but it's a very private process. It's over quicker than you think. For Grandpa Debtor, in this case, his solution was a bankruptcy where over 9 months, he made payments of $200 per month to the trustee. That's instead of him making the payments on $68,000 of debt. And after 9 months, he was released free and clear, moves on with his life. He doesn't have $68,000 of debt burdening him. Now, he's got to be smart going forward. He's got to live within his means. You don't want to do this again. But in that situation, bankruptcy was the right option to get him back on track.
All right, very interesting. Thank you, Blair, for joining us this morning. Interesting scenarios to look through, that's for sure. If you want to watch this segment again, you can go to our website, ctvmorninglive.ca.